Fiona's coaching team through consulting projects. Implemented methodologies at Huawei. Sharing first-hand experiences of achieving remarkable breakthroughs. For small and medium-sized entrepreneurs. Have been tested with $560 million strategic implementation guidance. Extracting a replicable model. For immediate implementation. Everyone knows that Huawei is now an outstanding company. Successfully adopting numerous scientific and top international methodologies. During its entrepreneurial phase. Actually achieving $1 billion to $10 billion through methodology implementation. Within a year, experiencing significant breakthroughs. This toolset is fundamentally based on strategic realignment implementation tools. Known as strategic realignment implementation tools. She helped Huawei when it was around $1 billion in its entrepreneurial phase, establishing strong sales capabilities, product capabilities, strategic capabilities, and leadership capabilities. These tools are actually aligned with the subsequent tools she introduced, and these tools are actually related to the tools he imported later, such as the Integrated Product Development, IPD, is the follow-up tool including IPD, LTC, within large methodological systems such as BLM, a component in a module. Through these 9 major tools, entrepreneurs can achieve rapid performance growth from 100 million to 1 billion during the startup period. Huawei achieved rapid performance growth from 100 million to 1 billion during the startup period. Why did Huawei seek top international consulting firms during the startup period? This is the extraordinary wisdom of Huawei's chairman, Ren Zhengfei. In his view, entrepreneurs should not spend their precious lives exploring developed countries in Europe and America. Knowledge that has been verified by successful entrepreneurs every day. And this is also a cognitive error that most domestic entrepreneurs often make. Knowledge sources related to mainstream management practices in China are based solely on over 20 years of limited domestic practice. Short verification cycle, small sample size, inconsistent knowledge structure, not user-friendly. Top international consulting firms, top international consulting organization. Not only does it have tens of thousands of best corporate practices every year, but also have a scientific knowledge management system. In addition, with a large number of highly educated consultants and strong logical intelligence, the summary and extraction of hundreds of thousands of excellent consultants have resulted in a large number of simple and easy-to-use practical tools. Simply import without the need for learning. Focus on limited resources. Target the customer groups with the highest return on investment. Sales lead conversion rate will be greatly improved. That's how Huawei did it at the time. Through tools, Huawei analyzed which specific segment of the population would be the customers with the highest lead conversion rate, and they found that the more precise the leverage, the more segmented it is, the higher the return rate. Let's calculate the salesperson. Monthly cost of 8,000 yuan. Visits 20 customers every month. Average converts 1 to 2 leads. Average performance income is around 100,000 yuan. If the average conversion rate is increased to 5 to 6 leads, average converts 1 to 2 leads, performance will exceed 300,000 to 400,000 yuan. This way, with the same budget, can attract 3 to 4 times more sales personnel. Performance growth rate can at least increase by 2 to 3 times. Therefore, at that time Huawei decisively introduced the target customer analysis matrix. If our product can fulfill a highly desired need of customers that competitors failed to meet effectively, and we use it as a selling point, we have a chance to quickly attract our customers. Huawei did just that at the time. They introduced the competition trouble map, which highlights unmet customer desires, and the trouble caused by competitors for customers. If our salespeople directly address and shape this selling point, customers are easily moved by the value. The more precise the selling point, the stronger the customer's desire, the better the conversion effect. The conventional sales path is very winding. We first need to create affinity with the customer, build trust, reduce the customer's guard, before introducing our product. But for impatient customers, this often doesn't work well. The path of value-based selling is to directly hit the customer's inner desires, which they can't even describe themselves. Customers are attracted by the value, even though the salesperson is a stranger. The professional image is very impressive, greatly shortening the sales conversion cycle and increasing our monthly sales. Therefore, Huawei applied the competition trouble map and successfully developed a product with strong selling points. We usually seek out customers, but if the situation is reversed, and customers seek us out, and highly respect our engineers, and value greatly the opportunity to communicate with our engineers, then it will directly affect the conversion rate, the sales cycle, and the transaction price. Huawei introduced the customer transaction potential table at the time to excel in this area better than other companies. Transaction potential refers to customer respect for the supplier. Customers can look up to our engineers, and the supplier remains in a dominant position throughout the transaction. This is something only a few excellent companies can achieve. If it can be realized, we will see many customers with money in hand, lining up to make purchases, not daring to negotiate prices with us, just wanting to buy, feeling very fortunate if they succeed. Isn't that powerful? Typically, suppliers are the ones begging customers. Many companies' profits are ruthlessly squeezed by customers. They push prices down, and delay payments, with long payment cycles. And the supplier bears the risk. If you're not satisfied, don't come. So, what about high potential suppliers? Engineers just need to find time. And customers will provide transportation. Lining up next to each other. Customers wanting to buy goods must pay up front, then go through salespeople to have a chance to get the goods. So Huawei decisively introduced this tool. After years of effort and refinement, they finally broke free from common price wars, improving profit margins and market position. For products, we want to have what our competitors have, and be stronger where they are weak. Where competitors are weak, we are particularly strong. Where competitors lack, we have more unique features. Huawei introduced the product positioning strategy. After implementing this tool, it strengthened its product differentiation advantages, your own product differentiation advantages, and moving away from homogeneous competition and price wars. No more promotions. No need for holidays. No need for discounts. Most small and medium enterprises suffer from high sales and high losses. Low sales cause anxiety. Sales are less anxious. The new marketing model will only amplify the pain. High-quality products featured in live broadcasts are often sold at extremely low prices. Despite being premium products, customers are only attracted by the heavily discounted prices. The spirit of reducing wages cannot be achieved with low prices. However, with the business capability upgrade through positioning strategy tools, products become unique. This often leads to hunger marketing. Huawei has created hit products like switches, software systems, 3G and 4G devices, and smartphones, among others. All of these have employed hunger marketing, because it is not a trick. It reflects the product's strength. Thus, Huawei introduced the product positioning strategy table. This tool has been effective for over 20 years. It has continuously helped Huawei's products remain unbeatable. If we could know whether a product will be a big hit before mass production, we wouldn't need to borrow money or seek financing for production. Entrepreneurs could avoid a life of debt. Then we don't have to borrow money or finance to produce. Entrepreneurs will bid farewell to a life of debt. Huawei introduced the NPS, Net Promoter Score, implementation table. Through the Net Promoter Score, we can gather data from a limited number of pilot customers, also known as angel users, through scientific iterative testing, and obtain a large amount of feedback. Our scientific data shows that after mass production, the product will be highly popular. This reduces the risk of product trial and error, and lowers the investment risk for entrepreneurs. Why do many private entrepreneurs in China frequently fall into debt? Because each decision to mass produce a product is essentially a big gamble. Many entrepreneurs go bankrupt after losing 2 or 3 times. That will go bankrupt, and through the NPS method, and obtain positive cash flow. Angel users take money to vote, saying the product will definitely sell well in the future, using the money they use to purchase samples to invest in mass production, completely freeing the risk of financial pressure. Huawei's implementation of the NPS system is called the Experimental Bureau. This is their killer move. They launch a large number of successful new products every year, all funded by pilot customers for mass production costs. Huawei does not need to seek investment institutions. No need to go public. All profits earned are distributed to their own long-serving employees. If our product pricing can closely match the customer's psychological bottom line, then we will maximize our product profits, while not affecting sales. At that time, Huawei decisively introduced a customer-based pricing iteration system, allowing Huawei's new product pricing to always achieve the best balance between profit margin and sales volume. Customer pricing here does not actually let customers set prices for goods, because if that were the case, customers would probably price it at 0. But rather through a scientific iterative process, continuously approaching the highest price customers are willing to pay deep in their hearts. That's what customer pricing is about. In this way, we achieve the best profit price, while also using pricing to drive our products to continuously undergo high-value iterations. Usually our pricing is very tricky. If the price is high, sales are affected. If the price is low, the company loses out. Huawei was early known for its pricing strategy. losing themselves, unable to match the service quality customers received. And later Huawei introduced a customer-based pricing system, making a firm decision. And even the global top 500 competitors have to acknowledge the quality of Huawei's existing products. Huawei's products not only have high profits, but also excellent value for money. And customers flock to them. This is the power of customer pricing. Seizing the right market timing is particularly important for entrepreneurs. And in this timing, we will see a lot of competition from many companies. If each time we can quickly enter the market before the market erupts, then we can definitely seize the smallest competition, grow the fastest, and achieve the best sweet spot for profits. Huawei positioned this tool through the introduction of the market sweet spot area. It has practiced being able to capture the outbreak period of just a few months each time, as well as the subsequent years of maturity, while avoiding the initial investment in the exploratory phase and the fierce battles of the later highly competitive period. So if we can capitalize on this opportunity, if each product combination can profit in the sweet spot area, we will achieve exponential performance growth. The pain of most domestic entrepreneurs is often getting up early and staying up late, either wasting many years of youth in the early stages of the market life cycle. Either years of youth are wasted in the early stages of the market life cycle, fumbling in the dark. And when the market starts to gain momentum, they often become stepping stones for later entrants, or arriving too late in the market, only able to engage in brutal price wars. And the competition in the early stages of entrepreneurship. Huawei's scale at this point is still not enough to be a threat to competitors. Huawei was often used as a stepping stone by competitors in the early days. However, it made a determined decision to introduce this tool in 2000. Huawei quickly entered the market on the verge of exploding, and repeatedly achieved a market victory during the optimal market period, with cash flow growth far exceeding that of competitors, achieving overtaking on the bend. Just learning the above tool, can it lead to a breakthrough in entrepreneurship? Not necessarily, because knowing does not equate to doing. But don't worry, because the wisdom of doing can be trained. Scientific methods can replicate leadership. Huawei introduced the entrepreneur self-breakthrough model, not only benefiting individuals, but many management teams also use this model to develop their level of wisdom. On the entrepreneurial path, the greatest enemy is human weaknesses: greed, anger, gluttony, slowness, doubt. If this aspect can be achieved, entrepreneurs will become increasingly wise, and business development will become increasingly healthy and stable. However, we find that most domestic entrepreneurs have plenty of cleverness but lack wisdom. They often capsize due to a lack of wisdom. Often boats capsize in ditches, back to where the stitches were borrowed overnight. Including the entrepreneur who is currently watching this video, most likely thinking the same way. Do we still need to explain such a simple truth? I understood it long ago. But in reality, they are still constantly hitting walls. The main reason is because they have not thoroughly reflected on themselves. Huawei uses such a set of entrepreneurial self-breakthrough coaching system through daily incremental improvements. After many years, it has created thousands of highly intelligent Huawei executives, ensuring a continuous stream of our executive talent, driving the continuous development of our Huawei business. These small tools above are actually a very small module in the international leading methodological system. And these tools during Huawei's entrepreneurial stage were already sufficient. Many domestic startups often blindly apply those large methodologies and systems, resulting in excessive management which ultimately hinders rather than helps the company's development. Hindering the company's development instead. Huawei only began to introduce complete large methodological systems like IPD, RTC, BLM after reaching 10 to 100 billion. Remember, the compatibility between advanced methodological systems and the scale of the enterprise is a question that entrepreneurs need to carefully consider. Please feel free to like, subscribe, share, and support Mingjing and Didi's programs.